Dwayne Johnson was totally heartbroken when Black Adam didn't work out. But I think it might have had something to do with him. From Johnson's demands to introducing new characters, here are the reasons why Black Adam failed and how it's connected to Johnson. Starting with, if Dwayne Johnson's really the reason why Black Adam didn't do well. Black Adam vs. Superman was supposed to be the future of the DCU. James Gunn recently talked about his plans for the future of the DCU.
Anyway, those are the stories that I can tell you about right now. I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different.
Which don't include Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam.
You have two choices. You can be the destroyer of this world.
Black Adam could have done well at the box office if The Rock hadn't made some bad decisions. That's not the only reason Dwayne Johnson started to get intolerable, though. His demands were a burden on the budget. So, Black Adam made $393 million at the box office around the world. Johnson's demands broke this preset budget, which cost the studio another $40 million. But wait, where did the money go? It looked like the former WWE champion wasn't happy with some parts of the movie. He made the team reshoot them, which cost them an extra $40 million. The profit margins would have been higher if Johnson hadn't insisted on reshooting in the first place.
Leading the whole charge is Dwayne Johnson.
He's more brutal, uncompromising, fueled by the depths of his pain. He's Black Adam.
Black Adam.
Of course, things also worsened between Johnson and the company. The WWE superstar wanted to be credited as a producer for an animated movie. Even though the movie was rated PG-13, Dwayne Johnson insisted on putting his Terramana tequila brand in it. This made the relationship between him and the studio even worse. The star of Central Intelligence faced and accepted his failure, which is a good thing. It looks like both Johnson and DCU let the other down, leaving the future uncertain for both of them.
Did he just catch a rocket? He caught a rocket.
Of course, it wasn't all Johnson's fault, though. There are many reasons why Black Adam failed, and one of the main reasons it failed is that it wasn't original enough. I mean, there weren't many new things in Black Adam to begin with, but there were a lot of things in the movie that were almost exactly the same as in other superhero movies. Black Adam did everything that had been done before. Dwayne Johnson was the only thing that was different. After Quicksilver did it twice, Superman and The Flash did it in Justice League. Even Marvel's Logan did it in an interesting way. Black Adam added a slow-mo scene. Some parts of the story, like Eternium and Kahndaq, felt like Vibranium and Wakanda. Eternium, though, was like Kryptonite in that it did the same thing. Adam was a lot like Drax in personality, and he used moves like the Hulk's signature thunderclap. It got to the point where everything Adam did or said was like a previous superhero movie. It wasn't just about the lack of originality, though. The script was also badly written. It was a superhero movie with a bad script and a lot of similarities to other superhero movies. The Wizards hid the crown of Sabak, but where did they find it? Adriana had no trouble getting it from where it was floating between two rocks in a cave. The movie had many lines that sounded like they came from a video game, especially when it came to Sabak. All of these conversations had the same tone as a fantasy adventure story with a lot of drama. If they'd spent more money on things like making the visual effects look good, it probably wouldn't have failed as it did. And if the money spent on making the movie had gone towards writing the script, the movie might have done better at the box office. It wasn't just how everything was written, though. The protagonist was more laid back than usual, and that is why Black Adam has a passive protagonist problem. Part of the problem with how the movie was written was that there was never a main character who drove the story. Black Adam wouldn't have woken up if Adriana hadn't told her about him. And once he did, he just floated around and didn't want to do anything. After that, the JSA were brought in to make the plot more interesting. Ishmael took Amon hostage so that Black Adam would have to fight some more bad guys. Later, he would have been stuck in Amanda Waller's underwater prison if Dr. Fate hadn't called him with his magic. In the movie, it was clear that the plot moved Black Adam forward and made him react to things. Because of this, one of the most powerful heroes in the DC universe became one of the weakest heroes ever. As far as Dwayne Johnson's concerned, his character wasn't really that different from his current personality though. He was still The Rock, but like with superpowers. It's great how hard Dwayne Johnson worked to get into shape for the Black Adam movie. Instead of making Black Adam look like a version of himself, it would have been better if The Rock had gone the extra mile to make himself look like the comic book character. That with pointy ears, a more angry personality, and everything else. Since Dwayne Johnson was one of the producers of Black Adam, no one could tell him how he played the role wrong. Of course, you've got to look at the timing that the movie came out too. The pandemic and the market affected the success of Black Adam. The movie came out at a time when other movies that could have been blockbusters weren't doing well either. Many people have gotten used to watching movies on their big screen TVs, phones, and laptops in the comfort of their own homes. This impact of the pandemic is still hurting the box office. Streaming's a big reason why movies are out on digital HD and OTT platforms much sooner than they used to be. Because of this, many people don't want to go to the theaters when they can watch it almost for free in a few months. So, Black Adam was released digitally within a month, and on streaming services in less than 2 months. Of course, it was bound to fail if you look at how they handled the accounts. There was a pretty huge budget to fix things. Black Adam made $391 million worldwide on a budget of $195 million. Then, another $100 million was spent on marketing it, bringing the total cost to much higher. For a movie to make any kind of profit, it needs to make more than $800 million at the box office. Also, in these hard times, a movie's likely to lose money if it doesn't surprise people with something new and different. Of course, even if the plot wasn't original, an interesting cast could have covered up for that. But the movie couldn't fulfill that either. There were too many unknown characters in the movie. If you read comics, you're probably familiar with Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Atom Smasher, and Cyclone. All of these JSA members are related to Atom in the books. But they're also brand new characters on screen without any background. Shazam was the only well-known character who could have been in this movie, but he was left out. Also, the JSA members seemed like copies of superheroes that people had seen before. Speaking of characters, there was another major problem. The villain was pretty weak. Along with the new characters, there was another DC villain made with CGI with no other goal than to take over and destroy Earth. Sabbac didn't even look like Ishmael. Plus, his character was so flat, showing that the bad guy had nothing good about him. And that is all on Dwayne Johnson's The Reason That Black Adam Failed. See you in the next one.